If you think this is loud, then think about having over 60,000 people with one of these. This is a match of the unbeatens here in Columbus, and we've been waiting for this for the entire season. The QBs are doing during simple drills. Let's see how it works.
But I want to see them get into their drop, see their first read, hits to the second.
Lionel Messi in Miami just walked out right behind us, right over there. They have just started taking the pitch for warm-up. His favorite snack, peppermints. Let's see if we'll eat one from me, shall we? Hey, Derby winner. What if Kentucky made the college football playoff? 12 teams, expanded playoff, it could happen. Yeah. But they have to lose to Louisville. Look at that, a whopping 67% of his passes were completed, and a really good offense here. Hasn't really hit his stride yet. He's had a lot of sub 100-yard passing games. This kind of eats me up right here. The wind is a bit of a pain right now. The anticipation was no more. Mauricio Pochettino is officially the new man in charge. The last thing you need to know is that these two teams played each other last season. This was the score, 3-1. Kentucky lost that game in Lincoln. Jasper Johnson took a blue Kentucky jersey out of a Donato's pizza box. And if that sounds weird, well, that's just how NIL is these days. The students in Taylor Made's School of Horsemanship possess a rarity in racing: a second chance. In Donald Graves' case, he's lost count of how many he's had.
Baby girl. Nobody would think that I could blow it, but you know, I eventually would.
In a decades-long struggle,
there's no job, there's no girl pretty enough, there's no amount of money, there's no parent that can love me enough.
For sobriety.
No, I always resorted back to the drink.
He knows this chance, as a groom in training on the farm, is his last. And he's not alone.
We're kind of in the trenches together, and it becomes tight-knit. And, you know, when somebody's lagging behind, there's 4 or 5 of us around to pick him up.
Graves and several others are a part of Stable Recovery, an addiction rehab program that provides housing, employment, and the chance to become an entry-level groom at a local farm to help those in need of a new life.
We get up, we get to come to work at this beautiful horse farm, and I have a purpose and a direction again as well.
Robert Osborne is a program graduate.
18.
And says that Stable Recovery is not only helping keep folks like Donald, but also Kentucky's greatest sport alive.
I think every horse farm owner watching this right now could use, 10 people. And when you're hiring off the street at your entry-level position jobs, especially at a job that's so labor-intensive, you're kind of hiring out of a segment of society that is, dealing with addiction usually.
In Kentucky, addiction is common. According to the CDC, the Commonwealth had the 4th highest drug overdose death rate in the country in 2021. The solution starts with people like Donald.
Come on, baby.
Who knows the biggest chance he needs to take
It's just one day at a time.
is on himself.
We all want to be the best caretakers of these horses we can be. I want to be the best sober Donald that I can be.
Forrest Tucker, ABC 36 Sports. Happy NBA draft night, everyone. Forrest Tucker with you for sports. 5 former Kentucky players are looking to make their way into the association in the next few days. We'll start with the hometown hero, Reed Sheppard. Multiple draft analysts say that the London, Kentucky native could be taken at 3rd overall by the Houston Rockets. However, Bleacher Report predicts that Reed could be taken by the Charlotte Hornets if they trade up for the 3rd pick in tonight's draft. At Kentucky this past season, Sheppard's 3-point prowess was a huge talker as he made over 50% of his shots from behind the arc. That skill makes him one of, if not the best shooter in this year's draft class, per Sports Illustrated. Another former Cat is expected to be a lottery pick, Rob Dillingham. There's more variation in Dilly's projected landing spots, though. ESPN says that he could go as high as 8th overall to the Spurs or as low as 13th overall to the Kings. The North Carolinian averaged over 15 points for the Cats this past season. Now, even though we talk about predictions, they are just that. Rob and Reed are surely good enough to be lottery picks. So I asked the Sporting News national basketball writer Mike DeCourcy about where the lottery pick duo could land. He says without a consensus #1 pick, that's hard to predict.
It seemed like it was going to be Alexander Sarr. Then there started to be a little bit more talk about the Connecticut guys, Donovan Clingan and Steph Castle, and some other international players. So we don't even know who's going to go 1 And so it's really hard to predict.
Of course, there are 3 more Wildcats who are draft eligible tonight and tomorrow. Justin Edwards is a projected an early second-round pick. Antonio Reeves could be picked later in that round on Thursday as well, but there's a chance Reeves could go undrafted too. Trey Mitchell, lastly, is widely thought of as a player who will ink an undrafted free agent deal. We'll break down DeCourcy's thoughts on those 3 players at 6 o'clock. Now, as we just said, predictions are just that. And our Minky Beef Jerky poll question of the day asks if you think there's a chance every former Cat gets his name called, despite what the experts say. Vote by scanning that QR code on the screen or go to WTVQ.com/vote.